Last night, a Brazilian restaurant tried to charge me a 3.5% card fee for using my debit card. I knew this was wrong, and it made me realize that I'm seeing this credit card surcharge almost everywhere now. Here's what's legal, what's a ripoff, and how to fight back. I've seen it all. For nearly 25 years, I worked at the DOJ, where I investigated some of the largest antitrust cases in the country. Now in retirement, I'm working for you. Welcome to the Antitrust Insider. The waitress was polite, and the 3.5% surcharge was printed on the menu, but it was fundamentally incorrect. That charge is intended for credit cards, not debit cards, and the only way around it was to pay in cash, which I did. But as this fee is becoming increasingly present in everyday life, it's easy to see how it can be confusing, annoying, and not to mention, expensive for many people. That credit card surcharge is spreading everywhere, and it's not just about a few bucks on a steak dinner anymore. From restaurants to clothing stores to car dealerships, businesses are passing credit card fees on to consumers in ways that are sometimes misleading, predatory, and potentially illegal. Segment 1, the antitrust battle behind your bill. To understand how we got here, we have to go back in time. For decades, the rules of the game were set by the credit card networks themselves. Visa, Mastercard. They had something called a no surcharge rule. This was a clause in the contracts they signed with every single merchant that said, you can't charge our customers extra for using our cards. On the surface, this sounds consumer friendly, right? The price you see is the price you pay. But from an antitrust perspective, from the view of the Department of Justice where I spent my career, this was a major red flag. This rule was a restraint on trade. It prevented merchants from telling you the true cost of doing business. They had to bake the cost of credit card fees, which can be 2 to 3% of every transaction, into the price of everything. This meant that cash customers were effectively subsidizing credit card acceptance for the merchant. Now you, my savvy viewer, might remember there was always one exception to the idea of seamless credit card acceptance: American Express. For decades, many smaller restaurants and businesses simply wouldn't take your Amex card, and the reason was no secret. American Express has always charged merchants a higher transaction fee, sometimes a full percentage point or more above Visa and Mastercard. For a small business operating on thin margins, that difference was a real threat to their bottom line, so their only recourse within the old rules was to refuse the card altogether. Then, in 2013, a massive class action lawsuit settlement changed everything. The merchants fought back and won. The settlement allowed them to start adding a surcharge specifically to credit card transactions to recoup those fees. But this came with major guidelines. The surcharge had to be clearly disclosed, it couldn't exceed the merchant's actual cost of acceptance, and it had to be labeled as a credit card surcharge, not a vague service fee. This legal shift is the basis for what makes it legal for businesses to pass on their processing fees to you, the consumer. Segment 2, where transparency ends and profit begins. This brings us to the heart of the issue: the difference between a transparent cost recovery fee and exploitative profit. I recently went to a car dealership to put a down payment on a new car. The second I walked in, they had clear, unambiguous signs that read, a 3.5% surcharge will be applied to all credit card transactions. Notice the language, credit card. When it came time to pay, I used my debit card and the fee was waived because the dealership was being honest. The interchange fee for processing a debit card is really small, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So they had no justification to charge me 3.5%, and they didn't. This is how it's supposed to work. Now let's go back to the Brazilian restaurant I went to last night. The menu said 3.5% card fee. When I asked the waitress to clarify, she confirmed it's for all cards, credit, and debit. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Brazilian food, the restaurant is great, and this by no means is the waitress's fault. But this is exactly where the credit card processing fees crossed the line, and exactly why I paid in cash. Credit cards and debit cards are different, and not just because one allows you to pay later and the other draws on your bank account immediately. Debit card interchange fees are regulated by the Durbin Amendment to the Dodd-Frank Act. For large banks, that fee is capped at a tiny percentage plus a few cents. So on a $200 meal, the restaurant's actual cost to process your debit card is less than 30 cents. With a 3.5% surcharge, it's $7 added to your check. It's pure profit, and they're using customer confusion to do it. The credit card surcharge is spreading well beyond restaurants and car dealerships. You're now seeing it at mom and pop shops, online retailers, and even with plumbers and contractors. And by conflating debit cards with credit cards, imagine that 3.5% being tacked onto a $10,000 home repair. Segment 3, how to fight back. So now that you know the game, how do you beat it? By being an informed and assertive consumer. Here's your 3-step plan. First, be a detective. Always look for the signs before you order or buy. If you see card fee or surcharge, don't panic. Ask the crucial clarifying question, is that fee for debit cards as well, or just credit cards? Simply asking this question signals that you are not an easy target. You'd be amazed how often this act of awareness forces a transparent answer, and if you're lucky, in some rare instances, makes the fee magically disappear. Second, know your payment options. Always have some cash on hand for these small business situations. But for larger purchases like a car, furniture, or a home repair, never ever blindly pay a 3.5% fee on a large sum. Always ask, do you accept ACH transfers, bank wires, or personal checks to avoid the processing fee? You can save a lot of money by asking, and if they want your business, they'll be happy to accommodate you. Third, do the math. If you have no choice but to pay with a card, know what card has what rewards and factor that in. A credit card that gives 2% cash back won't fully offset a 3.5% surcharge, and you'll still lose 1.5%. But if the fee is closer to 2.5%, you're almost breaking even. It's a small calculation, but making it turns you from a passive payer into an active financial manager. You're seeing how the system is rigged with hidden fees and confusing surcharges. But that same fight applies everywhere. Your cable bill, your cell plan, and any company counting on your silence. That's why I wrote How to Beat the System, a step-by-step playbook based on what I learned at the DOJ to help you push back. Grab your phone and scan the QR code on screen, or check out the link in the description to take back some power in your own life while supporting the channel. Segment 4, Final Thoughts. Bottom line, the 2013 settlement was supposed to create transparency, but it has also created confusion that some bad actors are all too willing to exploit. A legitimate credit card surcharge is one thing, but a blanket card fee applied to debit card transactions is a different thing entirely. It's a profit grab disguised as a cost of doing business. As consumers, our greatest ally is knowledge. Know the difference between credit and debit, and never be afraid to ask the simple question that can save you money. What are your thoughts about credit card surcharges being applied to debit cards, or just the 3.5% surcharge popping up everywhere? Comment below, and please share this video. If you found this video helpful and informative, please hit that subscribe button, like, and comment. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay honest, and come back for more Antitrust Insider.